unpack your knives and stay. Yes, stay. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Top Chef for RHAP. I am Haley Strong. I have quite the crew here with me today. Hi, Curt Clark.
Hello, hello, hello.
What are you up
Just staying inside, not going outdoors.
to? Why would you when the outdoors is cold? I don't know if it's the same there in Michigan, but it is June 1st here in Southern Ontario, and it is cold as balls.
My dad lives about 30 miles north of me. They had frost this morning. So, yeah.
Tough. All of my vegetables are not doing well, and by that, it's my fault because they are not being watered enough. Hi, LaTonya. How are your vegetables?
Dead.
May they rest in peace.
Yeah, no, I do not have a green thumb. I have like the opposite of a green. I couldn't keep like a plant alive that you're not even supposed to water that much. So that's gone. I just thought that it was important for me to come on to finally discuss the fact that I was not chosen for Survivor 50. And I wanted to do that with you all for no reason in particular.
Yeah, and I wanted to introduce our next guest as like the Survivor 50 alternate, but I didn't want to get me or him in trouble. Hi, Owen. What's up?
Hello. Coming to you live from an unnamed resort in Fiji, here to talk about Top Chef. It's good to be here. Maybe I hope someone gets COVID so I can go play. No, I'm here at home. I'm here at home, and I'm very jealous of y'all's weather. I live in New Orleans, for those of you who don't know, and it is not cold here whatsoever. It is, we're getting into the 90% humidity, 90-degree kind of days situation here. So
that's fair. I would like it to be above 8 degrees, and sure, that's Celsius. Let me do the math on air. How embarrassing. Like 46 degrees. I would love if it was like above 46 degrees at some point in the next, I don't know, 48 hours.
That I'm hopeful for that for you as well, because that's too cold. But yeah, in Celsius, we're pushing like 30, 32, something
Child's
like that.
play. No, just kidding. The humidity is the real danger here.
Yeah.
Top Chef. I have to say this was my favorite episode of the season, and that's including an episode I was literally on.
That's high praise.
Your pink coat was on.
Hello, it was a skirt, and then my current husband had a full face shot.
Yeah. Current husband.
You just never know.
At the time of this podcast.
At the time of this podcast and that episode of Top Chef.
This was like if you could turn ASMR into an episode, like that's what this was for me. Like between the local experts talking about the forward, like I think was it Bailey who said that she could just listen to this person talk for 3 hours? Like same. Like just tell me about the rose hips all day.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like this is Top Chef at its best. You get some cultural relevancy. You get an exploration of the location, which I feel like has been lacking this season overall. And then you get really good food and a tough decision for the judges to make. It's always a little underwhelming when someone just totally, hammers their protein or forgets something on their plate and they go home for a silly mistake. But when you really have to nitpick, that's what the competition should be like at the final five. So yeah, I completely agree that this was my favorite of the season.
Sorry, have you not been enjoying Top Chef Toronto studio?
Yeah, it hasn't inspired me necessarily to visit Canada the way certain other seasons have with their locations. But this did a great job. This was a good Canada representation. But yeah, a lot of the Top Chef kitchen this year.
Have you been to Canada before?
I have once. My friend's parents moved to Burlington, Vermont, and one summer we drove up from Burlington to Montreal and stopped at a fromagerie on the way and went and saw John Mulaney at Just for Laughs and walked around a little bit, ate some poutine, and then drove back to Vermont, and it was lovely. I wish I could spend more time there. Actually, I was going to go hiking closer to Toronto. My friends and I were planning for a summer 2020 trip, And then, of course,
it
that happened. So one day would love to go spend more time in Canada. But then who knows if I'd be let back into the country, you know? It's a dicey proposition these days.
It is.
Jesus.
I think you raised a good point. Like, so many of the other seasons, like, give me a sense of, oh, I kind of want to go there. And no offense, Haley, but like the Toronto studio you mentioned, it just feels, it feels
a little cold. Yeah.
A little generic.
You don't
a
want to
little
go for
generic.
Canada's famous food.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, this, great for everyone. I would rather go to the Toronto studio than be forced to eat a meal outdoors in the cold. I could identify with everything that Tristan said, from I like shopping to getting my nails done to no Black people hanging around the mountains, just like all of that stuff that he was saying. I believe he said, I worked too hard to keep a roof over my head to not be under said roof. That's how I feel about life. That's how I feel about this beautiful episode of television. It was a wonderful episode of television, but if you had told me, again, this is why I will never be on reality TV, not just because of my winning personality. If you had told me that I had to go forage for food, including like ants, and then I had to cook that food in the cold, I would have a crash out never before seen on reality TV. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I do want to point out that weather is warm for Alberta.
That doesn't matter to me.
Like Jatia pouring the rice in the fire in Cagayan was actually the result of a Top Chef challenge. They were going to do a crossover, but it got too complicated. But they kept the footage in. I
like being a tourist to the outdoors. I literally have a T-shirt that has like outdoorsy. It's crossed out, and underneath is handwritten indoorsy. So I completely get the vibe. I'm more outsidey than outdoorsy.
I'm outsidey. Like I like going outside. I like a hike in which it's like mostly flat. And I don't camp unless it's like hard walls and there's indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat things I found personally because I'm not good at things. So I would kill myself probably. Like I would
immediately
die.
I would die.
I would die. And I'm very clumsy. So even those like pretty even walks, I can still, it's not always great for me. We did a hike when we were in Banff. It was pretty flat, and I saw a dog and I just completely ate shit.
I'm laughing so hard because this is a point of, I don't want to say consternation, but Sammy and I, when we first started dating, I was like, do you like the outdoors? She's like, yeah, but she's outsidey and I'm outdoorsy. Like I like to go backpacking with my friends. Like prior to COVID and everything, we would try to go annually for like a week, and I loved just being out there, cooking our food, whatever. But then she's like, yeah, I want to sit outside on the porch.
I love a patio. Yeah, I love
a patio. Sounds great.
More her speed.
I love barbecuing.
I'm fine being driven to the table in the BMW.
Yep.
And then eating the food and then immediately leaving. Yeah. I'm fine with that part. Yeah. Does that work? I don't know.
Yeah, like I love the outdoors. It's my second favorite place right after indoors. But I saw them like sitting at that table on that mountaintop, and all I could think of was like, how windy is that? Like all like the napkins flying everywhere or the insects. Like that's all I could think of when I saw that.
Someone's gonna get a leaf in their food.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But there are already ants in the food, so it was fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Add a couple more leaves.
As my friend Ben always says, whenever we drop food on a hike, a little trail spice never hurt nobody.
I watched a child eat trail mix just literally mouth off of a dock earlier today, and I thought like that was extreme.
just building up his immunities.
It is, and like I'm so happy for him. I will not be participating in that activity personally. So this episode of Top Chef, we said F the quickfire. We're getting in our little BMWs. We're driving to Canmore, about an hour drive for those unfamiliar with the distance. I am familiar with the distance because I just did that drive recently. This whole season, and I sound like I'm bragging, and I probably am a little bit, is just like cities Haley has visited, which is like nice for me personally. Like it's just Haley's season. Haley's been podcasting about this show a long time. Let's just make a season for her. I like it. I didn't do this though. I drank a coffee that was too strong for me, and then walked a little bit, and then drove somewhere else.
That's a different show.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
So they drove to Canmore. We get to a field, and Kristen's like, "Hi, everyone. You are picking your own food." And Bailey, our sweet city child, said, I don't think I'm qualified for that. And they said, don't worry. We have 2 guests. So we have Brenda Holder, who's a knowledge keeper. And then we have a chef and master forager from Canmore, Tracy Little. We have those 2 to like guide them in this journey. I think it was so brilliant to bring these 2 women on. I'm thrilled they did it. This is the kind of stuff I have been looking for from this season.
Yes.
And I'm so thrilled they finally did it. I thought it was beautiful and gorgeous, and I love this part. I love how appreciative the cast was to be able to participate in this experience. They learned so much. They were so inspired, and it was really just like gorgeous television in my mind.
Yeah.
And it felt authentic. It didn't feel shoehorned in. It felt like really like appreciative.
Unlike the Mission Impossible tie-in earlier this season.
Right.
God.
Hey, I just saw Mission Impossible today, so maybe it works.
True.
Maybe the product placement works.
Wow.
Who
Would you
knows?
like some frozen beef tartare to go along with?
Yeah, with my laser beams.
Don't worry, you're allowed to stay on the show. We couldn't eat your food, but you can stay on the show. I really wanted more of these 2 women, because that's what, to me, like having a season that is in a place like Canada that is so rich with like First Nations and like traditions of First Nations people. That's like kind of the point. And I feel like we've gotten to it eventually with the last couple episodes. But I wish there could be more of this throughout the season, incorporated, and also like just more of these 2 women in particular. I'll talk about it more when we talk about Judges Table, but I was just really glad that they were there for Judges Table, because I think we could have gotten a completely different, like I would have been saying congratulations to those men at the end of this episode had it not been for those 2 women.
Hear me out. I am deeply devastated to lose Moss.
Oh, I know you are. Yeah. I was wondering if you were doing okay.
I'm not, but like it's hard for me to be like this person. Like I was just like really hoping they'd be like, everyone's going to Italy and we're eliminating 2 people in the next episode. That's what I was really, really hoping for, because they were just like down to beans and crackers, more or less. Like I was like, let's just take it. Come on, let's just take everyone. What are we doing? Delta's your sponsor. You can't get 1 more ticket to Milan. Come on, grow up.
Because they're going there anyway to be sous chefs, right?
Yeah, you gotta buy the ticket for them.
He's already gonna be there.
Just send them. Like, sorry, television producers. Do you hate me? Like, Massimo in Italy. That's what we were. Yeah. That's what we wanted.
That is what we wanted.
They're supposed to listen to what you want, Haley.
Exactly. Golly. And then they just did this, and I'm a little mad, but that's okay. Yeah.
So, real quick before we dive into the Elim, I just wanted to. I was going to piggyback on what LaTonya said. I feel like so often they use the people as props for the quickfire or whatever, and then they're like, okay, piss off, like we'll see you later. Like they don't even like get an opinion very much on
like
the show.
Jeopardy contestant.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, was Michael Cera at Judges Table? He may have been, but like I can't think of more
He
examples off
was,
the
I
top of
think.
the
I'll
head.
hear
but-
no slander towards my second husband, Michael
Oh,
Cera.
I
we
don't
love
think
him.
that
Yeah.
anyone was.
I'm just
at any
warning
point
you.
slandering.
I'm just
I
putting
thought-
it out there.
The Michael Cera V commercial lives rent
Oh,
free in my head,
genius.
and any ointment, object, soap, anything in our household, we just say my cream. The way he did in that commercial, it has infected our household. So no Michael Cera slander, but yeah, just agreeing with LaTonya that I'm glad that they literally gave the women a seat at the table for this one, because I feel like they often don't
Yeah.
when they bring in something cultural or whatever.
Other
That's
important
probably an
cultural
anecdotal
moments
observation, but yeah.
involving Michael Cera, that one movie where he slapped Rihanna on the ass and she smacked him dead in the face, and it was amazing.
This is the end. Yeah,
Thank you.
so good.
Thank you, Owen.
I also think it was important to have them at the elimination challenge to provide context for all of the ingredients.
Yes.
100%.
Like, it would have been a huge miss to not have them. So we drive to Canmore and we forage, and it's adorable, and I love this for them. Then they drive an hour back to Calgary to go to Calgary Co-op.
I have a question.
Back to Canmore? Like,
Can the Top Chef, can they no longer afford drivers? Like, because for me, if I'm in a competition setting, I don't want to be driving around. First of all, I don't care how good your navigation is, BMW X3. I don't know where I am. And I'm going to get lost, even if I'm following another car. But also,
I think it's probably
stressful.
It is. I think it's probably a part of their sponsorship deal in which that it's like stipulated that the contestants have to drive as to like show how great it is to drive this car.
Yeah,
But
because
That's my guess.
And I feel like if you end up getting stuck being the person who drives a lot, like that would potentially negatively impact you in the competition, or just like get annoying
you
and
wouldn't
cause drama.
You wouldn't get to nap and like conceptualize your dish in a dream. And that you'd be missing out. Although maybe Massimo should have stayed awake because his dream dish turned into a nightmare for him and me.
No, I needed that dish to be sexualized in a dream. Sorry. That's all I'll say on the matter.
Did you say
The elimination challenge. The chefs went foraging around Quarry Lake and Canmore. Then they had to use their foraged ingredients to create dishes over an open campfire at Jumping Pound Ranch. As the winner of their previous elimination challenge, Massimo, I'm reading the Wikipedia entry instead of Curt's. Sorry, Curt. The guest diners include Cree Knowledge Keeper Brenda Holder, chef / master forager Tracy Little, indigenous herbalist Matricia Bauer, Top Chef Canada winner Nicole Gomes, and chefs Paul Rogalski and Scott Iserhoff. I love them cooking over fire. I think that's hot.
Very hot. Also,
you think
Knowledge
fire's
Holder
hot?
is such a swaggy title to have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Holder, like that's
yes.
a very, very strong title to have.
I've wanted that title for years. Didn't know it was available.
I play a 7th level knowledge holder in my weekend D&D campaign, so I'm
I got it because I'm a nerd.
But yeah, I do think Open Flame, it like presents a challenge, but not like an inhibiting one. And I think it's just like visually so endearing and just like draws you in. It's like, this is cooking. Like, I don't know. There's something like sexy and cool about it, you know?
Oh yeah, just,
and
it's like it takes you back to that fish fry from Wisconsin.
No, it doesn't.
That was an abomination.
That was terrible.
Oh my God.
Like, we've got to cook off all of the terrible stuff that the fish has. It reminds me, you know those YouTube videos where you never see the dude's face, but he's always like chopping stuff on a rock?
Yeah.
And like when Massimo said he was gonna make that cracker, I was like, oh my gosh, he's been watching those YouTube videos.
Yeah.
There were a couple points where I was afraid momentarily that the fire wasn't going to be hot enough for what somebody needed to do. It looked like, I think it was like Massimo seemed to maybe be or struggling at one point, but it was like literally 1 point, like for like 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were very like creative in adapting the cooking surface to like what it is they needed to do. Like Tristan, like understanding that pork like shouldn't be just like vibing on open flame. So he set like a little like thing. Massimo just putting the rock there and said, we're gonna get that thing hot and we're gonna make a cracker.
And then him skewering the fish and holding it above the flame and still able
like
to get
so
a crispy
cool
skin. Like, yeah, really
Looked
impressive.
really good.
I had a good time with that. Tristan, my sweet angel, he was having a tough time with this challenge. Tristan struggles if he can't like connect to what the theme is, like conceptualizing a dish, and that was an issue for him here until he was finally able to connect it to his roots in a way. And he made an OG jerk pork with plantain miso glaze. Corey like callaloo and Cole roasted roots. Like very cool. This looked incredible. It would be hard for me to not order this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He impresses me so much. Yeah.
I love him so much. I would like us to hang out. And then if he has a little like spare time, maybe he could make this dish as well. I just am so impressed by how he basically like, you could tell that he and Bailey were the two that were like struggling the most conceptually in shopping. And then it's like he went to sleep and woke up and had like a revelation, and then all of a sudden this dish was born out of something very like primal but also like home core to him, like talking about memories of his grandmother making coconut milk in their kitchen. Like where does this come from? But yet it connects so well. He's a genius. This
was very much a let the ingredients guide me sort of episode. Like there was like not a lot of and maybe that it feels a little bit like maybe Massimo was the one that like went into it with the most forethought of what he wanted to do, whereas I think several other, like, you know, Bailey and Tristan were both like, I'm just gonna let the vibe take me, and it took them. And it worked. But yeah, this was again, going back to that, by saying about the kind of an ASMR episode, like what like Tristan's experience with like coming up with this dish fed right into that for me. So yeah, it was very, very zen.
Well, and it's so impressive when they let the ingredients guide them, but then they also have the like knowledge to then leap into something creative that then the great chefs can then also connect with something personal. So he was like hitting on all these different levels. Like I remember watching Eric and how passionate he was about like the transatlantic slave trade and the history of the food surrounding that, and like how he could bring a lot of that narrative into his dishes frequently. But then I feel like Tristan has done a good job of also taking those like historical perspectives and melding it with his just like his grandma's coconut milk, you know, like not saying Eric didn't do that, but just this episode, I feel like it checked multiple boxes on Tristan's prep. And just like, you know, sometimes you get the chefs who are way too into their own worldview, and then sometimes you get ones that are just so meta and like almost like they're teaching like a cooking history class or something. And I thought this was kind of still that like educational yet soulful kind of blend. And he's been the front runner for me for ages. And I know Shuai has been picking up steam lately, but like I really thought the edit was setting us up for this season to be a Tristan versus Massimo showdown in the end. But no, I was very impressed this episode with him.
So good. Like, sorry, I was just gonna piggyback off of what Owen said. We would have no context to know that there was like a group of people that went into the mountains and this is how jerk became a thing. We would never have context to know that. But like Tristan has a way of storytelling through the food that he makes that just makes it enriches the program, in my opinion. Like I just think that it makes the show so much better having him in the cast.
100%.
Yep.
I think it was his like callaloo that he like made rutabaga milk instead of coconut milk, and he used some of the herbs he foraged to like be reminiscent of like things you would actually put in that. So I just really appreciated that he was able to get into what we were doing. I guess like I was a little worried there. I was like, okay, Tristan, like I get it. I do want you to be able to like get into this, even though it's not exactly your story. I love that he was then able to bring his story into it and like use those ingredients.
Yeah. And like Owen said, even like Tom had a little sidebar to the cameras, like talking about how, you know, a lot of the ingredients that the chefs were using weren't ones that they were familiar with, but they were familiar with ones that were like adjacent to the ingredients that they had, and were able to kind of, you know, take it from there and to make it their own. So that was really awesome.
And that
quick sidebar about the Tom sidebar. That was very Survivor coded. Just felt like those like on the fly confessionals they sometimes do.
Yeah.
I thought it was a testament to Tracy and to Brenda of how they were able to teach them like how phenomenal these dishes ended up being.
But it seemed like they came at it two ways, almost like here's like they're with Tracy and Brenda, like, and they point out, okay, here's something, and the chef's like, okay, that's cool. But then the chefs could also say, I'm looking for something that's like this, and they'd be like, let me point you to this tree, or I think that's over by this stream. And I thought that was so cool, is that they had like a couple different ways in. They could either just be inspired by what was shown to them, or they could ask their guides, like, hey, if I'm looking for something like this, what are your ideas? And so I thought it was kind of cool, the different ways that they were able to sculpt the meals around this.
Cesar made a mushroom trompo with mushroom pibli broth and toasted ants. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, and please don't be mad at me. Cesar was the one I was hoping would go home this episode. I love Cesar. I love him so much. But like, out of the 5,
shake your head knowingly, Owen. Don't be
no. I was ingesting the take, and I disagree with it. I don't know. I do have a least favorite, and we'll get to it when we get to them.
Is it Massimo?
No.
Oh my God.
But Cesar, I love his creativity. I love how he just is like full send.
He's so whimsical, and I love him so much. He is lined up to be my 3rd husband. I just find such joy with Cesar. I just thought he just looked a little clunky in my mind, and like I know what he was going for. He wanted to look like a carrot, and I guess I was and like, this is going to make me look dumb because I know there's some things that are just like not indigenous to Canada that would use, but like I was a little mad he was using a pineapple in a foraging in Canada challenge, I guess. Like I was just like,
okay. Where were Hawaiian pizzas invented?
Ontario, but we shipped in canned pineapple because we can't grow that stuff here.
That's
I'm
also
not.
That's not
the
an
pineapple
example that you want to use when you want to be on the right side of history.
I'm just saying the pineapple is plays an important role in Canada's culinary history.
I love pineapple. It's my favorite fruit, bar none. But I was just like, we're using pineapple. Like you couldn't have asked the girlies, like, hey, I want like a cool acidic note in here. What can I use? And it was like he got pineapple. I love you so much, Cesar.
Because of the al pastor of it all.
I know. I get it. I do understand what we were doing.
His joy that they were foraging brought me joy. It was like I don't have to go outside. Mushroom. I can live through Cesar's joy.
I don't know if y'all have brought this up in earlier episodes, but Cesar kind of reminds me of Rasica from a couple of seasons ago.
Oh yeah,
okay, yeah.
Just like with the wacky ideas and the fun energy and like sometimes missing the mark, but he's been like, so I'm just really impressed that he's like been able to do like stuff he's never made before consistently and still make it, very far in the competition, even though he did get eliminated once. Still he's bounced back nicely. But yeah, I like him. I think he's a great addition. I was a little nervous just because like at the beginning of the episode he kind of was getting the like wholesome content and then Massimo ended up getting some too, talking about his family. But yeah, it looked tasty to me. I will say it like maybe didn't pop the same way some of the other ones did, maybe because I also didn't know some of the terms with his dish in terms like I haven't had a trompo before. And ants to me, I've had them once, I think, but it's not something that like evokes like a mouth-watering reaction out of me typically.
Typically.
I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, but the idea of like maybe one of the ants living and crawling inside of my mouth disturbs me. I this week realized I accidentally crushed an M&M in my crossbody bag. And it was full of ants when I put it on yesterday. And that was an upsetting experience. And I said to those ants, I'm going to eat you. I'm not going to eat them. I'm not going to eat them. They're honestly, I feel like this is going to be another dumb thing I say, which is that like, I feel like, wild ants like that are different and probably more flavorful than our like dumb city ants.
I could see that.
Right? Like those ants look like beefy. I don't know. They look like they had more flavor than the ones that get into my house.
I'm gonna start crying. Like I can't. I guess that I am just not meant for culture. Because I can't eat an ant. Like you just can't make me. You can't.
I'm not gonna make you.
You better not.
Like how do I get it on a fork? Like I guess I spoon it, but I don't know. They're just so small.
I think they like in Mexican cuisine, don't they like crush them up and it's used as like texture and seasoning? I feel like
I can't do it. I can't. I would know.
I've had a spicy margarita with a crushed cricket rim before.
Mm.
You would order that.
Seriously.
Compliment.
Said in the most shady way possible.
Yeah. I know, and I didn't mean
that
to.
That is so on brand for you, Curt.
It is, with love in my heart. Bailey made lamb spadino with grilled dandelion salad, cowtown cowpeas, and thistle root puree. I really was just kind of like thinking this was Bailey's episode to go home. Like she just seemed uncomfortable with every part of it. I'm glad that she did embrace it. And she was like, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall to see what happens. But this was also like a dish that felt like it didn't really come together until like the last moment, and not in like a Tristan way, but in like a, oh, your peas aren't cooked.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I think I felt the tide turning when they were praising her for using more unique ingredients than Massimo did. I think the kind of deal breaker was that Massimo was so mustard focused, I think, and didn't like expand his horizons beyond that. But yeah, I thought they mentioned Tom disliking the flavor combination twice, even though he's like, I keep going back to it. Yeah, I thought this was going to be her boot. And I guess I hinted at it earlier. I have a tough time. Like, I don't think I would dislike Bailey if I hadn't just watched season 9 with Sammy right prior to this. And so the pilot or the first episode of this season comes out and Bailey's like, yeah, Sarah is my mentor. I'm like, oh. So, and then she was like a little rude to the Russian woman in their like team challenge. And I was like, I don't like this girl. And, I just like wrote her off from the jump. And like, I'm very stubborn in my opinions, and it's hard to change my mind. And I have changed my mind. I don't like.
So you hate women?
Yes, exactly. Yes, because
I really wishes LaTonya and I would leave.
her mentor. I do hate all. That's correct. Yes, that is correct.
And like when Tom was doing his like walk around during the cooking,
it was more of a meander.
There's true. Yeah, he meandered. Like Bailey, to your point, it was like nothing was coming together for her at that point. Like she was like, I don't know what to tell you, Tom. I'm just kind of still figuring things out. So I thought that she was in trouble, and I figured, from the overall comments, it was down to the Massimo and Bailey.
I have to. No, please, Haley, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I know Top Chef doesn't really like do this, but like it would have been a bad look for like the final 4 to just be all boys.
Yeah, it would have been really
Cook
bad.
Island's final 4 though.
Pardon?
We do have a Cook Islands Final Four with a black person, an Asian person, a Hispanic person.
Well,
and a
I
white
think I'm
person.
just gonna head on out now.
So we got that going for us.
Calling it a Cook Islands Final
I
Four.
mean, that's perfect. Sidebar. I recently, and okay, actually, I'm gonna go on a quick tangent, which is that like I know a lot of people are disappointed in the season 50 cast, but I've thought about it, and here's my reason as to why it's so heavy in the 40s. Besides the fact that like these are the people who've never come back, I think there's been a renaissance in Survivor in which like a lot more people are watching Survivor within the last 5 years, and those are the people that they have seen. So they're bringing like, the new viewers. So into my original sidebar, which is that I have a lot of friends now who are watching Survivor who never watched Survivor. And so in preparation for season 50, like I'm like, okay, well, you have to go back and watch these seasons, blah, blah, blah. And one of them being Aussie season. I had to be like, I need you to be prepared for the fact that Cook Islands was divided by race. And like they looked me dead in the eye and said, like, you are joking, like there's no way they did that. And I said yeah, and then they almost tried to do it again but realized that it played bad, so they changed it last minute.
And then season 14 just happened to be 3/4 people of color.
So casual.
But yeah, that conversation where you have to be like, no, I promise they swap tribes pretty soon after it starts.
Yeah, but like the way we start, like it is like
started
the white, there's a white people tribe, and like like it's just.
And I only recently watched that season for the first time, actually. And my commentary to Chappelle, I was just like, is this a serious season? Are they is this a joke? Is there any reason that this is divided by race? Oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God. And then I just couldn't believe that fire making show.
Yeah, that was of the era of reality television, and it was like, we're social experiments, we do social experimenting, we're crazy. And it's like, no, like you're just somebody in the room made a mistake, and then like 7 more people didn't point it out. Anyway, Schwai made roasted cabbage with rose hip glazed pork belly, sour cabbage broth, lovage, and thatching ant togarashi. Wow, I am loving what Schwai is doing the last few weeks. I am so excited. He's finally in his zone. Like I keep saying it week after week. He's finally just like accepted that this is the food he wants to cook and that he deserves to be able to showcase it on Top Chef. And Top Chef is now in an era which is accepting of food. It's not just like French and Italian food, and it's so freaking exciting. And I'm so thrilled for Schwai. He won with this dish. Looked incredible. It was so like I love how simple it was, but it was just perfect. I was so excited for him.
Yeah, I want to try the like I'm not a big cooked cabbage person, but like how many times were they like raving about how this wasn't just cabbage? Like did something magical with this cabbage. Like
it was beautiful. And honestly, I think like the idea of the ants really worked in this specific dish, where I felt like Bizarre's, it was just like, I'm adding ants, where like Schwai's, it genuinely made sense as to why he was adding them.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's really cool to see his confidence grow week by week as well. Because I was worried for my guy Schwai for like several episodes where he just clearly did not feel like he wasn't feeling himself when he was doing these cooks, and he was just like nervous. And I love that kind of like divine intervention of him finding the note from his wife is what really started to bring him back to himself and make him realize like, what are the things that I maybe didn't enjoy from my childhood that are actually amazing now that I'm an adult? And how can I like bring that to more people? That's why I think that he and Tristan are just on such a different level than everyone else that's competing that's left in this season, because they are showing us food that we have not seen before, coming from places that we've never been on this show.
I really loved his like oh, we would drink this like medicinal broth, and like I can really get those notes. And I like that he had those conversations with oh my gosh, I can't believe I keep doing this. With Brenda and Tracy of like, this is what it reminds me of. And like, this is kind of like what I'm thinking. They're like, yes, we love that. And they were really thrilled with this dish too. I just am like stunned. I've never seen like a 180 on Top Chef like we have with Shuai, I don't think. Like it was a miracle that he was making it from week to week at a certain point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he felt like just kind of there for a while. And I remember he was on my shit list on that episode where he threw away Henry's mise en place. I was like, why? What are you doing? And yeah, he's really turned it on. And I think it just not necessarily just from the edit perspective, but just both the way they're both cooking right now. I feel like he's going to give Tristan a run for his money. Not to write off the other two, but just Shuai's getting hot at the right time here.
Yeah.
Honestly, now that Massimo's gone, like I'm kind of willing to write off the other two.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sorry, Cesar and Bailey, but you both have left so far. Like you've both been eliminated. I'm thrilled with Shuai. Like I'm just like he just you can see the difference in him. His personality is here. Like I was willing to let him go at Restaurant Wars, and I'm so glad he stayed.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he had what was it? The kind of disastrous front of house,
Yeah,
right?
like he was very bad, and I
He-
thought there could have been a real argument to be made that like Paula should not have been sent home.
Yeah.
But this sounds bad. I don't know if Paula would have been able to have like this turnaround that Shuai was able to,
Mm-hmm.
unless there was a note in her bag too. Then maybe I don't know. Massimo made grilled trout with mustard sauce, smoked potato puree, and bannock with wildflowers. Bannock is usually like it's like a fry bread that's really popular with like the indigenous population. Yeah, and I'm glad that he paid respect to that. I didn't understand his plating. I didn't. I thought the cracker on the side looked a little clunky. I think Gail was being a little bit hard on it. But I am biased, so that's okay. I'm willing to admit it.
I think your point earlier, Owen, like I think part of the reason it seemed like part of the reason that he went home was that he kind of forced the mustard, or like he steered too much into something that was known, whereas Bailey was like willing to like kind of just try something a little bit more novel, a little bit more new.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair enough, but I'm still going to be mad about it, and I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, well, and they highlighted that his fish was cooked perfectly and how difficult that is to do multiple times, and it looked delicious. But yeah, I think they were probably like, oh, actually, no. I am a little upset because like Bailey did have a cookery issue with the beans, whereas they were, I guess, more complaining about the like total composition of the plate with Massimo's with the cracker. So I don't know. It was a tough call, but he's such a fun personality. Like he's one of those like I can't decide if I love him or if I hate him, but like I just his charisma, his person, it's just so funny and just like I can't take my eyes off. I don't know.
Yeah, he really has the charisma, uniqueness,
nerve, and talent
we're looking for in a Top Chef contestant. Yeah, like Massimo is like a guy like I should not enjoy, but I love him so much.
Perfect.
And I thought like I was a little worried he'd be like kind of pissy that he left, but I thought his departure was incredibly classy. I was genuinely shocked at like how upset Kristen and Tom were to lose him because I thought they hated him. Like I thought they despised this man. And then Kristen's like sobbing, like eliminating. I love Kristen as the host here because she's been in their shoes and she gets it. She's been eliminated and she's won. And I think she just like injects this like beautiful humanity into the role.
Yes. And I feel like we need to defend Kristen. I don't remember if I talked to you all about this, but like during one of the many weeks that I was away, there was like blind items that were coming out about Kristen not being a good host and how they were like thinking of replacing Kristen for host of Top Chef.
That's crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous. And this is yet another episode that I would be like, watch this, like, you know, final discussion, this final like judges table decision, and tell me that Kristen doesn't belong hosting this show. Like, I don't understand what people are talking about. I don't know what they're seeing. They're talking about like she's not emotive enough. She's not emotional enough. Like, basically she doesn't make them feel mothered, I think, in the same way as Padma did, but she's mothering every episode, and I don't understand why people don't see that.
And honestly, like, I don't find myself missing Padma at all, which is like surprising. Like, I knew I would love Kristen, but I thought it'd be like, oh, like it's just like different. Where like I kind of like forget. Like, I go back and watch an old season. Oh, and I don't know if like this is happening each year right now as you're watching some of the old seasons. I'm like shocked Padma's there. I'm like, oh yeah, like this I forgot. Like I forgot she was here.
Yeah, no, I think Kristen's doing an amazing job. And as someone who has a gigantic crush on Padma, you know, I thought her loss would be more personally devastating to me. But no, it's like you said, you barely even notice. And like LaTonya was saying, just the way she can, like, there's no way that Padma could have ever like had the same kind of connection with someone getting eliminated that Kristen can, you know. So like that emotion, it's just so genuine and so real, and it's just cool. Just from like a human perspective, it's really cool to see that they care and that she's invested in the contestants. And I think to your point about like her and Tom being sad about Massimo going, my theory is if Massimo had gone home in episodes 1 through 4, they would have been like, all right, see you, buddy, you know, good luck. But I think he really grew on them. And like you said, like he's someone that you would think, oh, look at this guy, he's so loud and obnoxious. But then you get to know him and he's like, okay, he's the real deal. So yeah, I thought that was very touching. I didn't cry necessarily, but I was like, wow, like I'm shocked at how moved
I cried.
I did. Anytime Kristen tears up, I'm guaranteed
it's
a goner.
It's it for me. I cried at the beginning of the episode when they were all remembering Lana and just like what a light Lana was in the competition. I cried then because I was also remembering Lana and what a light Lana was to the competition. And then I started crying again when Bailey is like, I'm just gonna have to make it to Italy for the both of us. And I was like, well, if she doesn't make it to Italy, then I am quitting. I'm quitting this podcast. I'm quitting the show. I'm quitting life. I'm done. I'm not quitting life. But I'll quit this podcast right now. But then later, when Miss Ma'am, the absence of a name, according to Trixie and Katya, but I'm talking about Bailey, when she was in the store, unsure of what it was that her plan was, I was right there with her because I too have no idea what the hell is going on at any moment. And as that continued throughout the cook, I was like, yes, let's go. Let's continue not getting it until you got it, right? And I really do think it was like the cowpeas, which I love. My best friend just got a kitten named Cowpea because she found the cat eating her cowpeas. And so I was, so that made me cry. It was a very emotional episode of television to watch.
I mean, Tom nearly crawled across the table to hug Massimo.
Yeah, he was like, Massimo, get over here right now, and like kissed him on the head, like forehead, and said, like, my sweet summer child. Like I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And then that really set me over the edge too. Like I was just like, I love you.
Yeah, I don't think Tom does that much. That's kind of like less frequent than a Paul Hollywood handshake, you know? Like that's an honor bestowed upon him.
Oh
man. Yeah, the season won't be the same without it. He's just such like a boisterous wild card personality. He was cooking good food. Here's a question for y'all. Do you think if he didn't add the Bannock, do you think he stays? Like, because he said, like, I had extra time, so I just put it together. Like, do you think that was the kiss of death, or do you think it was the lack of really diving in and using, like, less familiar ingredients?
I think he still probably would, like, because if you lose that element, then you're probably losing, like, did he call it, like, a bruschetta or, like, a salsa or something? Like, you're losing a lot of those foraged elements, and I think they would have then said, like, he didn't go deep enough into what the challenge is, regardless.
I don't know what the dish would really be without the bannock. Because I mean, I get that the whole point was that it was disconnected, but imagine if it was just gone, then like I don't know what that 3 hours would have been used on.
That's a good point. It's just a little piece of fish with potato puree.
Yeah.
Well, that's the episode. We're going to Milan next week. We are getting some Olympic tie-ins because, of course, we are. This is an NBC property.
For what Olympics? For the winter?
Yeah, the Milan. What year is it? 2026, maybe?
I guess 2026.
Oh.
I didn't even know those were happening. So
Okay.
good thing. Yeah, more product placement. Sure. Hooray.
Let's go, Limps.
What is your favorite winter Olympic sport?
I love all of them, if I'm being perfectly honest. I just love
you're Canadian.
I'm Canadian. Yeah. So I love them all.
Figure skating. Been watching figure skating since I was
bobsled,
hockey.
Figure skating and gymnastics are like my two favorite sports. And tennis.
I like hockey for Winter Olympics. I also is it skiing where they do like the crazy jump one?
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. The Winter Olympics impressed me because like those are all things I literally cannot do. You know, like with Summer Olympics, like I used to row in high school, like not at an Olympic level, obviously, but it's like I can do that thing. But like all the winter sports, I cannot do really any of them.
Oh, that's cool. I had no idea that you used to row.
Yeah. My height, stunted my full potential, but it was a great sport. It's all pain tolerance and technique. But anyway.
Why? How tall are you? And I don't mean that to come off weird.
5'10". So
okay, all right.
Not short, but rowers, like people who row
they're pretty tall.
In college. It's a tall person sport.
You either have to be very tall or like the tiniest person you've ever met. The tiny one,
yeah, coxing.
Coxing, yeah.
I think that's it for the episode. Curt, what did you eat this week?
Let's see. Friday I had some bibimbap, which was quite tasty. I was gonna get some bulgogi, but I was like, I need some vegetables, and so got that. That was pretty good. Today I went to this local Indian place. I got some chicken korma and garlic naan bread. And then earlier this week I had a great debate online. I wanted grilled cheese, but I only had the two butt ends of the bread. And I was like, is this a crime against grilled cheese if I was to bake grilled cheese? And I didn't think about it putting the butt side in. And it worked. And also it kind of had the unexpected side effect of the cheese actually got a little bit closer to the grill. It got a little bit more crispy and melty, which was tasty. But I think I literally have had more grilled cheese in the past 3 months than I've had in the past 3 decades. So I've never been a big grilled cheese person, but I'm just in my grilled cheese era right now. So, so that's my week. LaTonya, how about you?
It's been an interesting week because your girl had some stomach issues again. So there was a lot of vomiting and packing. Just like run it back, vomit and pack. I had smoothies. That was fun. I had a sandwich that was pretty good yesterday that I got when I got here and ordered room service, which was like it was a BLT, but the bacon, it was like pork belly instead of pretty great. And they cooked it the way that I like. I don't like my pork belly to be too chewy. And I was able to express that, I guess, well enough to someone to understand like how to cook it. And I got really crispy fries because I like my fries to be like well done. So that was nice. I had this really good crab meat and corn soup.
Yum.
From the Chinese place that I was talking about last week, because I was like, wow, I'm not going to get to order food from this place like for very much longer at all. And it's not, and maybe not again for a long time, because it's like a downtown thing or like a Chinatown thing. And so I got some soup, but I also got that like oxtail with honey sauce. Like it's like a black honey sauce. That was really good. And then I just got like I just got a cheeseburger, like just an all-American cheeseburger, with like lots of mayo because I like mayo a little bit too much. But they forgot my shake, y'all.
Oh,
It was really
brutal.
sad.
That's very sad.
They were like, and now our salted caramel shakes are back. And I was like, yes,
ooh, yeah.
let's do it. Nope. We did not. We did
That's
not do it. We did some sweet potato fries though. That was good.
I had sweet potato fries yesterday. Delicious.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
They're so good.
So
They're a good alternative to like.
They're healthier and I might argue better than regular fries.
I think they are better. Yeah, especially depending on who cooks them. Like, and what kind they are. Like a lot of sweet potato fries are kind of like the lattice cut ones. You know what I mean? They're like, as opposed to just like the strings.
Mm-hmm.
I like either way.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll get blessed with a really wonderful like dipping sauce, like whether it's like a cinnamon butter or like something that just like adds to the kind of a little bit of more sweetness to it.
But ranch is also really good with sweet potato fries.
Mm-hmm.
Never done that.
So yeah, that's all I got to eat this week. Please move on away from me. Hopefully next week I will get to eat an entire week of food. Yeah. Oh wait, one more thing. I tried that new Chipotle chicken.
Oh, how was it?
It's the honey Chipotle one. It's very good.
Okay.
It's sweeter than you would think. So what I wish that I had done, because I hardly ever do this, but I was like, I'll order like a burrito for now, and then just so I don't have to do anything later, I'll order like a quesadilla for later. I should have gotten a different protein, because it just felt like eating the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And it is a little like I tend to get fajita fixings like with my burrito or whatever, but it unless you get something like that, I have a little difficulty believing that it wouldn't be like overpoweringly sweet. So
try that.
Yeah.
Owen, anything fun and tasty other than the sweet potato fries yesterday?
Yeah, well, I got the sweet potato fries with some wings. My wife's out of town because her mom's birthday is tomorrow. Shout out Deb, who will not be listening, but shout out Deb anyway. But yeah, so I've been eating stuff that Sammy doesn't like quite as much. So
you know what? I think last time you were on the podcast, she was also gone, and you also got wings like 6 days in a row or something like that.
I love wings. I love wings, and she's not a big wing gal.
Who doesn't love a wing?
This is coming back to me now. I definitely talked about this last time. That's so funny. But yes, wings again. From
those are the moments of golden flashes of light that she sings about. The wings.
Wings, exactly. And then I also hit this. It's this Venezuelan place that started as a food truck here, and then actually one of our friends used to work for them, and then he no longer works there. And like spiritually, I think I'm supposed to not eat there, in solidarity with my friend, but they make really good arepas, and Sammy does not like that place anymore. So I got it without her.
Sammy is a better friend than you, is that what
Yes, Sammy is a better friend than me. I felt I was really struggling with what to order that night and what to pick up, and I realized I wanted to take a walk, and it's pretty close to the apartment, so I caved and I did it. But then, if you'll indulge me, I do want to hit a couple food highlights. We went on our honeymoon at the beginning of May. And so just a couple quick highlights. Amsterdam. You
can take long highlights if you like. We're 31 minutes under time budget.
Okay, yeah. Good point. Okay, so Amsterdam, we ate at an amazing Korean restaurant, actually. It's by Oosterpark on the east side of town. But we got there. We ate that the day we got there and had this amazing kimchi stew. The japchae was really good. And Sammy, like, she likes Korean food, but I think that was the first time she like had a full Korean meal and was like, okay, I get it now. Just because like the Korean food in New Orleans is pretty mid, unfortunately. So she hasn't had like incredible Korean food. So that was really fun. We had really good Dutch pancakes at this tiny little restaurant called the Pancake House upstairs. And it's in this like cute little house, and there's only 4 tables there. And that was really, really yummy. But then we also, at our hotel, they had a fine dining restaurant there that was like, it was giving the menu in some ways. Like when we walked into the dining room, they're like 2 coming in, and the whole open kitchen was like, welcome. And, really small plates and such intricate plating. But, and it was like, I think it did a good, like, it could appear to be very snobby and like taking itself too seriously, but it was really delicious. Like one of the starters we had, it was a chawan mushi with lobster. They brought out this really beautiful sourdough bread with like herbed butter, and you could see all like, it was like bright green butter. What else? I had a really good lamb dish there, but it was cool. We did like 4 courses, and it was the most I've spent on a dinner in years, but it was worth the experience. It was very beautiful and cool. Because that's not like, as much as I love Top Chef, and like I think I'm pretty decently like cultured when it comes to food. Like the fine dining, like I don't live in a Chicago or a New York. Like New Orleans dining scene is a little bit different, I would say. Like there are still fine dining places, but it's not as like in that kind of wheelhouse, like Michelin star kind of like pissing contest that some restaurants can get into. So yeah. And then
permission
London,
to name our band Michelin Star Pissing Contest.
Michelin star pissing. That's a good band name. And then London, the food, I would say people are too harsh on British food. The fish and chips were great. Sunday roast. I've fallen in love with scones with clotted cream and jam.
Do you what's your layering process?
Jam on the bottom, then cream on top.
Crazy work. No.
It gets
jam on top.
No, cream. It's a vehicle to eat more cream. And the sweet old man at the tea house said that's his preferred method as well. So shout out to that guy. But yeah, one final. We went to Brighton for like 2 days on the southern coast of England, and there was this place called the Brighton Smokehouse where they just have a very simple menu, and it's just all smoked fish. And I had the most delicious smoked mackerel sandwich. It was on this like really soft ciabatta, and it was just smoked mackerel, lemon, and pepper, and it was phenomenal. It was just so simple, so delicious. Like that honestly might be the one thing that I like keep thinking about food wise from that whole trip. But anyway, that's me waxing poetic about what I ate a month ago. But yeah.
I might need to get the name of that Korean restaurant. I think I pinged you about it on Instagram or something, but I'm going to be in Amsterdam for a cruise in 24 days. So
nice. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Fun.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Haley?
As if you listened to last week's podcast, I was in Banff this last week. So I had like a really fabulous food week. I was not expecting the food in Banff to be so good, just because it's been like a bit of like a tourist place the last couple of years. So I wasn't really expecting like fabulous food, just because like it could be so easy to just like not be. But I had some really fabulous dining experiences. Basically, when we hung up the phone last week, I was deeply craving a vegetable because I probably hadn't had one that wasn't stuffed inside of a Chili's Southwest egg roll in like the previous 48 hours. So I had a really delicious salad at Three Bears Brewery in downtown Banff. It had kale, and I'm not usually a kale girly, but it had like mandarin oranges and radishes and pea sprouts and candied pecans, and it was just fabulous. And it hit the vegetable spot for me. There was because we were there for a conference for Ethan, and Ethan, we had like a gala dinner, and it was just a really lovely dinner served by the Fairmont Banff Springs. What else did I eat?
It's a beautiful hotel, by the way.
I'm looking it up right now.
Stunning.
Wow, that's
Gorgeous.
gorgeous. Yeah,
It's like it's the most famous hotel in Canada, like easy peasy pumpkin squeezy.
that's beautiful.
Contest. It's been a dream of mine since I was a child to stay there, and I finally got to live my dream. And then on our last night in Banff, we went to this restaurant called the Bison, also kind of like downtown Banff. They were doing like a spring fling menu, so you got 3 courses for $39. And Ethan and I were really good about being like, okay, like I'll get this thing, you get this thing. So I got the burrata. I got burrata with a caponata, pine nut, and rosemary cracker. And for dinner, I had an Alberta Denver steak with fire roasted eggplant puree, grilled romaine, and chimichurri. And then for dessert, I had a sugar cream pie. And then Ethan got a smashed cucumber salad with tahini dressing, fresh herbs, crispy garlic, and chili. And then he got a bison short rib with palm puree, duca, apple brown butter. And for dessert, he had a double dark chocolate budino with chocolate fudge, mascarpone cream, chocolate praline almond. And he also got the wine pairing with his. So with this dessert, he got a port. It was actually a Taylor's Port, which is one of the port houses we visited when we were in Porto a couple weeks ago.
What is a budino? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure if I'm being honest with you. I think it's like a mousse, like kind of like a moussey thing.
I definitely spelled it wrong because
Budino.
Got it. There we go.
Creamy like a custard or pudding.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. It was great.
They're delicious.
And the other wines in the pairings were like BC, like British Columbia wines, which is really fabulous and exciting to see. There was a couple Niagara wines on the menu too, which I thought was very interesting. I didn't get those obviously because they're in the backyard, and also like some of them are in the basement as well. The bison was incredible meal. Like we both said that this was probably the best meal we've had all year. So if you're heading to Banff, like definitely recommend going there. We were kind of peeking at the other tables, and anything that came out looked just absolutely incredible. And then we went to Calgary for a night, and we stopped for lunch at Class Clown, which was the restaurant that Kristen took the cast to for burgers, and we just thought it'd be funny if we went. I sat in where Lana sat.
That's awesome.
I know. It was very cool, and the food was good. We each had a burger. The burgers were fantastic. And the
how did you pay for them though? Did you use what is it called?
The Wells Fargo? No, my Wells Fargo account is not open currently. I tend to stick to the Canadian bankings that are federally regulated, so we won't go into a recession due to banks closing. Anyway,
there's no need to rub it in, Haley.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. The bank I bank at has been around for like 200 years or something wild. Anyway, the best thing we had there were the coney fries. It was like a coney chili on just like crinkle cut fries, and it was incredible. If you're in Calgary, I would definitely recommend going. We did get there about 1:00 and waited about 20 minutes for a table, but like after 2, it didn't seem like there was much of a wait, at least in the afternoon. But that was really fabulous. And then what else? Let's look at my phone. I wasn't prepared past that for some reason. And then had some Thai food the one night. Went to go see one of my friends from university in Calgary. We got Thai food. I'm not sure at the restaurant. And then when we got home, we were both craving a vegetable. So Ethan made taco salad. And then yesterday morning, Ethan brought me breakfast in bed. Like I was,
wow.
I know. I was like
king behavior.
I was blown away. So he brought me like a little yogurt.
Good job.
I know. Greek yogurt always. Cherry is my preferred flavor. There was a pear. Then he made toad in a hole, not like a British toad in a hole, but like an egg and a piece of toast.
Yeah. I love those.
It was great. I had a great time. That was great for me personally. And I did actually eat it in bed, and I didn't even spell. I didn't spell one time.
Impressive. Whenever I travel for work, I always get the 2 queen beds so I can have an eating bed. And
yes.
Bed.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I've got going on now.
There's a sleep bed and a food bed. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
One of my coworkers clowns on me saying that's terrible advice. I'm like, no.
I think that's reasonable. If we get a room and there's 2 queen beds, we will sleep in separate beds. The one place on our honeymoon, we had our honeymoon many years later because we got married in 2020, and then all of that.
Travel with hard.
Yeah, so we went on our honeymoon a couple years later, and when we were in Iceland, we found this little cabin, and like the sleeping accommodations was just 2 twin beds, and Ethan was like, "It's our honeymoon, like we can't do that." I'm like, "Hell yeah, we can." He's like, "Yes, we can." It was great. Would recommend.
Did you happen to have the hot dogs in Reykjavik?
Always.
They're so good.
They're the best.
I told Sam Phelan to have them on his honeymoon. I just told another friend to go hit that stand up.
Yeah.
That's the last stop on my cruise. Tell me about these hot dogs.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, there's a main spot downtown. It's like near the church, and you'll find it. Just type hot dogs Reykjavik, and you'll
like
find it.
Baron's Best Stew, I think. It's red and white. You won't miss it.
And it's like a hot dog. He's dancing. Anyways, so you have to get it like fully dressed or whatever. So it's like a sweet mustard, kind of like a brown sauce, a nondescript brown sauce, and then like crispy onions, and it's just like it's like a foot long, right? Like I'm not making that up.
They're pretty big, and then the snap, whatever the case, the snap on them, like they taste like lighter and more like real than American hot dogs do.
And the filling is like beef, pork, and lamb, I believe.
It sounds
right. Yeah, and then so it's just like a fabulous hot dog, and it's like the cheapest thing you will eat in Iceland. It's the only affordable thing in Iceland in the entire country.
But yeah, that place is delicious. I keep telling everyone to go there.
Yeah, it's great. But that's it. Yeah, I had a great food week, and next week I can promise you will not be that good, and I'm so sorry. But next week we're going to Milan, and not us, but like the Tom Chef is going to Milan.
I'll be going just to support them.
Yeah,
that is very kind of you, and a long boat ride.
Yeah,
I'm always excited to see what hair changes we get.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Like will Bailey have a bob? Perhaps, who knows.
One can only hope.
So they're calling you Bob.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I wonder if it'll be a different color.
Yeah. I think she'll get a fresh
kind of thing.
I really do.
Yeah, I think so too.
Curt, where can people find you on the internet if you'd like to be found on the internet?
You can find me at Curt Clark. Probably Instagram is your best shot. Maybe a good week to follow me because I'm doing a tasting menu in Minnesota later this week. So I'll have something to report back on next episode.
LaTonya?
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at LK Starks. You can follow me on Instagram at Stormborn1222. Things are about to get even more hectic for me than they have been. So just bear with me. Like, I'm going to be crying through a lot of episodes of things. So I'll be documenting that.
Owen, where can people find you?
Yeah, my handle on most things is The Young Knight. It's with the letter O on Instagram, and it's with a 0 on X or Twitter. Blue Sky, I was using Blue Sky, but I can't keep up. I can't keep up with too many, although I philosophically want to. But yeah, just living life, not, who we'll see if I get called in for 50, if any of the people out there get ill. But no, just honestly, the main thing I've been doing in my free time is playing Blood on the Clock Tower. So check out Dwight's streams or the RHAP videos or all the above. It's a super fun game. Sammy got me the physical version for my birthday as an early birthday present. So looking forward to playing that in person. And actually, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to sign on and play some with my friends. So yeah, check out Clock Tower. It's the best game ever.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. We always very much appreciate it.
Every season, anytime. I love talking Top Chef. I love talking with y'all. And it's I'm honored to always be asked back.
Well, we're going to take that very literally, and you're always going to have to be on here. And you can find me on Instagram at @strong_. If you want to check out any of the food I ate, just click the request to follow button, and I'll probably accept it. As long as your profile doesn't look like you're a day trader. Well, you know how like you get those like random follow requests, and it's like,
Yes.
Stocks to 100. Like, I don't know anything about stocks, so I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like a sentence they use. Or you can follow me on my Bookstagram account at The Strong Library. I recently read One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune, so my review should be coming this week for that. Queen of Canadian Summer. Just read Carly Fortune books. They're wonderful. And until next time, pack your knives and go. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.